Hi, my name is Renata and welcome to my channel. For my latest blog post on the Rubber Dance blog, I have prepared a set of mixed media tags, and in this video I will show you every step of my creative process. Now, of course, the first thing to do is to prepare my tags. And for that I have used this older die set from Sizzix and a mixed media paper. But my die cutting process didn't end there. Instead, I found some older metal dies from my stash and did some more die cutting to create some fun background textures. If you are interested in these specific metal dies that I have used, I will try to leave the links for them in the description area down below this video. Now for adhering these die cuts I will use matte medium, but if you don't have one you can always use any kind of simple glue. Just that might be tricky sometimes because these die cuts have some very fine thin parts. Before my matte medium was even dry, I have noticed the brush strokes from applying it, and I didn't want that effect in this case. So here you can see me dabbing on the still fresh matte medium with a wet tissue, wet baby wipe, and that really helps remove those brush strokes. Now this is a step that you can definitely skip, it's just me being perfectionist. Here I will try to test something out, but the effect wasn't as I expected it. I will try to put little glue dots over the empty places on the tag, as I wanted to see how will they react with the Distress Oxide sprays that I will use for coloring this tag. The effect was there. It gives some fun little texture, but honestly, in my opinion, nothing really special. Of course, goes without saying that I will cut off this excess paper from my tags before I proceed with coloring. For each tag, I will use a set of 3 different Distress Oxide sprays. At the beginning, you will notice here that I chose to use black color, but for some reason it wasn't spritzing that well. You will notice here soon. This was just me spraying some clear water. And now you can see how my spray bottle didn't work perfectly, so I will replace this black color with chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide spray. The other 2 colors that I will use for this tag are Mermaid, Lagoon and Speckled Egg. And since I have sprayed some clear water at the beginning, you can notice how these colors are blending just beautifully. Now I will dry this tag and move on to color my second one. For the second one I will use Shabby shutters, Salvaged Patina and Twisted Citron. Of course, again, before spraying the Distress Oxide sprays, I sprayed first some clear water. Now let me show you how my tags look at this stage when the Distress Oxides were dry, and before I do some additional embellishing. First step for that was to emphasize these textures from the die cuts. To achieve that, I chose Caran d'Ache Neo Color tool, and with a very light pressure, I am going only over the textured area. In the case that you don't own Neo Colors tool, there are many options with which you could achieve very similar results. Some of them are using a Distress Oxides. You could try to apply the color directly from the ink pad using a ink blending tool, but really have to be careful about your pressure. Then you could use simple color pencils, pastel pencils, and even acrylic paints. But I will say one last time, you just have to be careful of the pressure that you apply so that the color wouldn't seep in between the textured areas. Here for the blue tag, you can notice I just couldn't decide whether I like better the effect with the brown color or with the white one. So at the end I did a little bit of both. But another color that would have given a really beautiful result could have been orange, or if I wanted my tags to match a bit more, I could have used some shade of green. And since already the nail colors were in my hand, I will use the same two colors to add a little bit of splatters to my tags. At this point I decided that I want a little bit of vintage touch to my tags, so of course what's better for that than using vintage photo Distress Oxide ink. First I will just darken the edges of the tags, but as you will notice soon I will use the same Distress Oxide for doing a little bit of stamping. For stamping, I will use one of my favorite stamp sets from Rubber Dance called Mixed Media Marks No. 1. Here there is this stamp of a little ticket, but I will use it just in parts to add a little bit of text to my tags, a little bit of script, and later on I will add some numbers as well. And of course, since I wanted my tags to match, I will always repeat the process on the second tag as well. Now let me show you how the tags look at this stage. I really like how these nail colors help emphasize the textures. Anyway, now it is time to focus on my focal images. For that, I will use these beautiful birds from the Sketchy Bird stamp set from the Rubber Dance. I will stamp them using VersaFine ink in a black color on my Canson mixed media paper. For coloring, I will once again use Caran d'Ache nail colors too. At this point, I still wasn't really completely sure about my color scheme, so I was just kinda figuring it along the way. But honestly, I was really happy with my choice at the end. As you can notice, I am first just scribbling in some colors, and then using a water brush, I will blend those colors in. I think these nail colors too are really good and beginner friendly because while being a water-based medium, they still give you a lot of control. And as perhaps you can notice, it is really easy to blend in your colors. If you are not completely satisfied with the intensity of your colors, don't be afraid to add another layer and just repeat the same process. Now, one little tip to make your colored images really pop is to reinforce those black lines, because sometimes coloring over them can dull them a bit. In this case, I am using a colored pencil in black color for this purpose, but of course you can choose to work with some fine liners or Posca pens. This is kinda small detail, but it has a really big impact. And another tip, it really helps adding highlights as well. Now again, for this I am using Caran d'Ache nail color, but a white colored pencil or Posca pen in white color would have been perfect for this purpose as well. Or I almost forgot, even pastel pencil works really good too. Anyway, my point is it's good to know your options. Now it's time to try to create some kind of a composition. And for that, I decided to go back to some more die cutting. The purpose of this die cutting session was to give something for my birds to stand on and some more interest to my tags. Here you will see me a bit fumbling and tumbling until I find the layout that I am happy with. For adhering my elements, I will use a simple liquid glue. Now I won't bore you with the full process of adhering my elements, and instead let's move on to the next step. Since my circles were black, it provided a big contrast to my tag, so I felt to balance it out I needed to add some more black elements. I went with adding black splatters, but another good option was to do some stamping with the black ink. Now, of course, let's not forget the sentiment. As usual, when I am creating projects for rubber dance, for my sentiments I like to use a stamp set called Mix Sentiment 2023. I have already stamped and hit embossed my sentiments, so it was just matter of cutting the words which I like and find appropriate for this project. Now the time for the last step is to add a thread to my tags. Once again, to balance the black circles, I decided to add the black thread, but to make it a little bit more fun, I also added this brown colored pearl. And that's about it for these tags. If you wish to read about it, you can find this project over at the Rubber Dance blog. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project and that you had some fun. Thank you for spending some time with me and see you soon again. Bye!